Good morning and welcome back to the All-Purpose Pod for an All-Purpose Life, wherever you are today and however you're listening to the Call Me Mr. You, the podcast. Thank you once again for making us a part of your morning, your day, and your week. We're your weekly mirror check before you change the world. You know where to find us: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and of course, the Twitter. Download, like, share, and subscribe. We definitely appreciate your support. Good morning, fellas. Herbo in the house. What's going on?
Good on, guys.
Every morning I get on here and I think, man, I'm just not as good looking as these guys. Like, what am I doing wrong with my life? So, I got to step it up. I'm going to say it's the lighting. That's what I'm going to tell everybody.
It's the beauty products, bro. All right, man. So we are in the week of Thanksgiving. And tell you what, it took about 6 times to remind me that it's Thanksgiving on Thursday. I keep forgetting this. This is a very weird week. What's your absolute stone cold lock go-to for Thanksgiving? What do you have to have on your table, or it's not going to work?
I mean, a few things, but probably my wife's apple pie. So
if it's not there, it's not happening, huh?
Yeah. So it's funny. Her apple pie is pretty great because I don't like a lot of cake, pie, cookies. Like, it's just not my thing. But her apple pie is really good. It's got the streusel topping on it. She cooks down the apples in Fireball and brown sugar bourbon, right? Super tasty pie.
Okay.
So we're heading over to Bo's for Thanksgiving. Is that what I'm hearing?
There's 2 things happening here. Now, I thought it was about the apples in Washington, because it's indigenous to the area. But it's about the bourbon. So that's what we're really okay.
The alcohol cooks out, man.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Other alcohol, if you want to go that route.
I'm pretty sure they will be. Wow. Okay. So the apple pie.
Well, I'm not doing anything for it anyway because I'm going to the Hawks game. So
nice.
Really?
Yeah. So I won't be seeing anybody anyway because I'll be down at the Hawks game with some friends.
Oh wow! You gonna miss Thanksgiving? Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
We're not having a traditional Thanksgiving this year either. So we haven't had a traditional Thanksgiving in years. Our Christmas has been our family get together. So everybody's just kind of spread out.
I don't want to say nothing bad about Thanksgiving because it's a huge holiday in our country, but sometimes I get bored with it.
I look forward to the football.
I just don't. For me, football is kind of like if I don't get to have the games on, it doesn't feel like it's Thanksgiving. I mean, I'm watching the Lions in years past. That wasn't a good thing, but now it's actually exciting. The Lions actually doing good. But I guess for me, my go-to probably has to be stuffing / dressing. We got to have that, or just kind of feel like the whole spread feels kind of weird. What about you, Herb? Is there anything you have to have normally?
My first thought was mac and cheese. Give me some good mac and cheese to start off the day, and I'll be good.
All right.
I'm more of a chicken person than like a turkey or ham, though. So if you can slide that in, that will improve my Thanksgiving as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
I need the football more than I need the food.
Exactly.
Well, I'm there too. I'm gonna have that in times 10 because going to the Seahawks game. So yeah, nobody doing anything traditional here, so that's okay.
No, it's funny because I used to always play football in the morning. Like go out, play some football, then come back and then snack all day, watch the games. Like that was kind of the way I did it. But like Herb, I would always host Christmas Eve. So that'll be one thing kind of interesting moving back home, right? Because it's out of the country for the last couple of years. So moving back home, I might actually get to host that again. I always make a prime rib, everybody come over, and this won't be that year because we're still in the moving process, but probably next year.
I want to come see you guys.
Mm-hmm. Just send the address when we get off air. That's all.
I mean, now I'm just hungry though.
That wasn't the intention. We were just having some Thanksgiving nostalgia. I didn't want to stir nobody up. That wasn't my bad. But okay, our poll question that I had on Twitter several days was which quarterback should stay in school, J.J. McCarthy or Shedeur Sanders? The responses are, I don't know, you would expect that, or it's a surprise. I'm not really sure, but Shedeur knocked the vote out with 62%. He should stay inside. He should stay in school. He's in every mock draft for next year, so I don't know how that's going to work out. But he's like, I think somewhere in my second round, every mock draft I saw. But so we'll go into that a little more at the end of the show. But college, wow, that might have been more exciting than the NFL this week. Would you agree?
I was on an airplane, so I didn't get to watch any of it.
Oh, yeah. Bro.
You know, I say that every week though, but I'm more of a college football guy than a pro guy.
It was the games are stellar, man. What do you see, Herb, that you want to jump into, man? There's so many things to go. I mean, you got Michigan, Louisville, Bama.
Michigan, Louisville, and Washington, and even Oklahoma to an extent. Top teams playing. It's hard with Washington actually doesn't deserve to be in that category. They were actually the underdog going into that game. So the other three, teams that you're favored against, playing tough competition. I think it just illustrates college football, man. Any given weekend, you get a lesser team can kind of rise up and try to ruin the whole season. For Michigan, it had probably the most at stake with everything going on. They couldn't afford a loss before Ohio State at all. So that would be crazy. Louisville, I think I saw you in your post, first ACC title game. I mean, that's huge for them. And also to an extent for Florida State to keep up any sort of strength of schedule. But that injury to Florida State's quarterback, that has to be the biggest story, for a top 10 team for the whole week. I feel for it, man. You never want to see injuries. And then it's, for the football perspective, how's the committee going to treat them coming out of this as well? So this is that'll be an interesting week. And then, like I said, Washington in a different category. They that's a huge win for them on the road. They really need to stay in the field with all the uncertainty going on. Got to win out, and really need to beat Oregon again to have any kind of shot here. So, I mean, Bo, I guess with your thinking, if they lose to Oregon, they're probably not making the playoffs, right? The way
no, I think they would be the outside looking in. They would be, and I think Oregon doesn't get there either, as a one-loss team if they win, right? I think they'd be sitting at number 5. I think they'd be looking at the outside. Even if they do win out, there's a chance that they end up at 5, Washington, right? So, I mean, it's one of the things that's funny about the voting committee in general is the West Coast teams don't get the same love. So even if you were to go and win out, there's a chance that you don't get in. The Huskies have had an interesting past as far as national titles are concerned anyway, because the one that they won, they shared.
Right.
So, I mean, it's it'll be interesting, but for them to even have a shot, they have to win out.
Yeah. Which is crazy to me. And I do think that if they win out, they're in, because I think one of Michigan or Ohio State knocks themselves out. And now with Florida State sliding, I think they've got a good shot here. But
they do.
I mean, it is crazy the way college football. And I guess that's one of the to go back to your other point, college, I feel like it's exciting because of that. Washington lose one game, they're thinking maybe there's no more playoffs, versus NFL week to week. You get some good games, but if they lose that game, it's probably not, the same. So that's what we in college country like to tell ourselves when we've got no NFL teams around.
Well, I mean, one game makes a big difference, man. I mean, you can have 4 losses and be fired. I mean, it happened to my guy from Boise State. I mean, I didn't think he was doing that bad. I thought things were pretty decent considering what was going on with their team and stuff. 4 losses, and guess what? Old boy got the boot in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
So it's like, wow.
Well, I think the Mississippi State one was even harsher because this guy, was just really an interim guy, and they were like, this season didn't go the way it was expected. But I don't know what they were expecting from this season. So I don't know why you give a coach and give him 0 recruiting classes and then, give him the boot.
You heard of an interim coach that got fired? I don't think I ever heard that before.
He was, so Leach passed away, so he was kind of an interim. He was there at the beginning of the year, but he wasn't the head guy, So if he's trying to get his own guys, his own system, he really didn't get a fair shake. And it's Mississippi State, so I don't know what you're really expecting from them. So
not the top of the food chain by any means. So do you guys like the 4 guys that are or 4 teams that are currently projected to be in the college football playoff? Do you like those 4 teams to stay that way? That should be
So I would not be surprised if they move Washington in now and move Florida State out. More because of how they started the game and the injury. But also Washington had a much tougher game, and they persevered at that one. Florida State has just really kind of looked lackluster against less opponents for the past couple of weeks. And I feel like, I don't know, Washington is getting penalized for not looking great since the Oregon game, but they're winning all their games and they're playing much, much tougher teams than anything that Florida State's coming up against. So I don't know, it's like the committee just has the weirdest thing. It's like eye test for one person, schedule for the next person, then we're going back to eye test, then we're going back to schedule. So it's like there's no consistency as far as the top 4.
Well, is it true that the committee changes out every year? It's different people every year? Is that I heard that was how they do that? Is that accurate? The committee changes every year?
I think so.
I think there is some turnover there. But I mean, it's funny because they do eye test when it is convenient for the teams they want in there.
Yes.
And then they do strength of schedule, right? So, because if you were going to do strength of schedule, UW's in, right?
Right.
For half of the season, 8 of the Pac-12 were ranked.
Right.
And as it sits today, I think 6 of them still are. So, I mean, it's 6 or 7 of them anyway. So strength of schedule would have to be there, right? Those are all top 25 teams.
Right.
On your ranking system.
Right. No, I agree. And maybe the best win out of everybody by beating Oregon if Oregon's your 6th team. So it's like, you know.
I mean, the thing that's funny about it is it's just like, okay, well, of course they're not going to pass the eye test of blowing people out because they're ranked teams.
Right.
Right.
No, I'm with you. I always thought that they should be up there. I would have put them above Florida State. And now Florida State has, they're pretty much riding the LSU win at the very beginning of the year and nothing else. The rest of the ACC has fallen apart. So so for them, is it eye test? So it's like Ohio State, we went strength of schedule. Georgia, Michigan, and then Florida State, we went eye test. And then Washington, we're just somewhere in the middle, and then like you slide all the way down Texas where they beat Alabama. It's just like, let's have a different criteria and rank everybody. So to answer the original question, sorry, I got off track. I think it'll be Georgia, Ohio State.
Doesn't seem very consistent. Doesn't seem very consistent at all, to say the least. Do you guys think that Georgia's still the front one, I guess, to actually three-peat? You think it's still the best team? Or do you see somebody else?
I feel like they're getting better too. That's kind of scary. Their offense is coming along much, much better. Defense maybe not exactly where it was, but that's still, when your defense was A+, and if it drops to an A or A-, that's still really, really, really good. So yeah, I think they're getting better as the season goes along. That's scary for everyone else.
No, I agree with that. Like at the beginning of the year, you're like, okay, this is definitely not the same team. And then as it's gone on, that defense has definitely come along. But I mean, you knew the defense was going to be as good. Half of them went to the Eagles.
Right. So he didn't even say the NFL, the Eagles, which is 1,000% accurate.
Well, they didn't disperse. They went as a group.
Yes.
all on the same vehicle, right?
They didn't do much. They just carpooled up.
buy one, get 3 free is what happened.
Unbelievable. Well, I said what I said. I'm not changing my mind at all. If the Wolves don't do it this year, we've been talking about this for a long time. This is it. So somehow, some kind of something special got to happen. They face each other. If by some chance something great has to happen, that's the only way.
Be a good game.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be. Not good for my stress levels though. All right, so let's get into our power. Oh, good morning, Mom. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yep.
All right, so week 11. Power rankings. Who's taking theirs first?
I'll go.
Let's go.
All right. I got Philly 1 and KC 2 with the caveat that whoever wins tonight will keep that number 1 spot. So big game for them tonight. I didn't really go just records on here for number 3. I put San Francisco back in number 3. I just feel like they are the scariest team at 3. And so I went ahead and moved from there. So Baltimore 4, Detroit 5, Dallas 6. Interesting for me, though, I think Dallas might beat Detroit I guess they play later, so that could change. Jacksonville 7, Miami 8, Cleveland 9, and I put it 10. Houston / Seattle, huh?
With Deshaun out.
Just because they're feisty, and I like that defense. So if they get DTR up, I could see it. They're going to squeak out a couple. So I'm just giving them a little love there. Could they drop out in 2 weeks? Yeah, easily. I mean, because it's still ugly. I don't know if there was a huge difference between Cleveland and Pittsburgh yesterday. It's like great defenses and no offensive play and a lot of frustrated people. So, I put Houston and Seattle at 10 because I think they're similar. I root more for Houston, but I wanted to show Bo's team a little love too to keep them up there as well. So,
well, I was barely showing my team love this time. So I appreciate that. So I went from so I got the Eagles still at 1, Ravens at 2, Lions at 3, KC at 4. So my top 6 have really kind of stayed where they were. I have the Niners at 5. I have the Dolphins at 6, Cowboys at 7. I have the Jags still hanging on at 8.
mm-hmm.
I have the Texans jumping in for the first time at 9. And then I was actually going to put the Vikings here at 10. And then they lost last night, which actually makes them behind the Hawks in the playoff seed.
Yeah.
So that leaves Seattle still in the 6th seed there. And the Vikings move into the 7th seed. So it was hard to try and move them up. Both of them losing this week. And so that's where I went. Obviously, the Bengals went out. They go the way Burrow goes, and Burrow went home. So that team's pretty much done. And I didn't go the Browns route only because, again, Deshaun is out, and that team's pretty much going to fall apart. Not that he was playing great anyway. But
and that was part of mine with Cleveland. They weren't getting great play from him, still winning games. So I don't know how much they need from DTR. Now, it's not a good playoff, recipe. But at some point you're going to want your quarterback to make a play, and I don't think they're going to get it. But I think they'll get by in the regular season.
All right. Well, I'm going pretty similar to some of you guys. Got the Eagles at 1, Chiefs at 2. I don't think this game is going to change that. I think it depends on what happens during the game. That's going to be a big part. That's how even said I am at the Eagles at 1 right now. But Eagles 1, Chiefs 2. I got the Niners at 3 too, like you heard. When these guys got everybody, especially Trent and Debo.
Yep, they're scary.
Yeah, they look pretty scary, man. I got the Lions at 4. For kind of reason you were talking about your other team, they're just scrappy, and they were down by 12 against the Bears, and they just gutted it out. And defensively, which is a big part of that, which is kind of their meal ticket, and they've been riding that baby. So I got them at 4 for now. I got the Ravens down to 5. It's not because they're losing or anything, but I think it's just some things that I'm seeing happening on the team when they are winning. It's kind of like they're struggling in the areas that I don't think they could overcome, and they were playing a really solid team like in a playoff situation. Right. So I'm like, better tighten that stuff up. You can't be dropping passes, and you can't rely on Lamar to do everything all the time. So I kind of penalize them for that.
They're weird because they seem to play worse when they're ahead. It's like give them a 2-touchdown lead and everything falls apart. It's just the strangest thing I think I've ever seen.
It's really weird because with Monken's system, they should be almost in an air raid kind of situation. If I can use that phrase, they should be running the scope on people. Yeah. But when they get ahead, that's not what happens.
No,
they kind of dial it back. I ain't saying they're dogging it, but you get what I'm saying. You can see it. Yeah. I got Dolphins at 6. I got the Jags at 7. That's very tenuous at 7 right now. I'm not sure these guys are seriously contenders. I'm not really sure about them. I'm not sure.
Pretenders. They're pretenders the whole way.
It doesn't feel like they really have it. We'll watch though. I got the Cowboys at 8. I got the Browns at 9, and that's another team that's going to be definitely be knocked out.
Yeah,
the defense is. I guess it's still number 1. I haven't checked, but I'm assuming still a top defense at least.
It is,
but it's like you can have teams like that, and it's not going to get it done. I mean, let's use Pittsburgh as an example. They have a decent defense, but they can't ride. It's not that era. They can't ride that now. They gotta actually throw the ball into that effectively, and it's like I don't know if this rookie. I mean, fans actually chant his name. I'm like, DTR. I'm like, okay.
He was fun in college.
Love the support. Love the support. Yeah. I think that they got a really light hole on my top 10 right now. And the last one is the Texans. I had to bring them in. These guys have been playing really, really good. And what I like the most about this team, I said it the past 2 weeks, is that when they have adversity, a team is full of rookies, which they are. I think the majority is rookies, I think, or at least second-year players. They come to play. Yeah. Even in tight situations where veterans usually thrive because they've seen it so many times before, 2-minute offense, that kind of thing. These guys come out there and they don't quit, and they actually win. And it's like, it's very rare. So I'm really liking them. So I want to give them props and put them in the 10, but that's where we are, man. Any thoughts on the rankings? How you feel about it?
No, I like
they're accurate. Yeah. I left Baltimore ahead of Detroit though because they beat them. I think that was the only change up in there because I did like Detroit. Oh, that was my point. But I don't remember if you remember on our NFL breakdown show, pre-show, my friend Ahoda, who's a Detroit fan, and you guys weren't you didn't like his Detroit Super Bowl comment. I don't know if you saw that part. He posted like, "Hey, I'm buying my Detroit Super Bowl tickets," and Bo and Sarah weren't very. They laughed at that comment. I get a text every week that Detroit wins. This is because of Bo and Sarah.
Living rent free. I like it.
Oh my goodness, he is.
Oh, that's awesome. No, I love seeing what they're doing. The thing is, I don't think they're a Super Bowl team.
No,
I knew they were a playoff team, and I thought they were a divisional round exit. Like that's kind of where I see them exit, and that really hasn't changed because there's some things that I don't love about the team. I love how scrappy they are, but there's moments where you see it, you're like, that's a wolf. That'll get you in the playoffs.
Right.
But hey, living rent free in his mind, I'm not mad at it.
Every week, I'm like, man, gotta let it go.
Yeah, he's holding on for dear life.
I'm being said, I hope he's right. Like it'd be awesome for Detroit. Right?
Oh yeah, it'd be amazing. I told him I'm rooting for him every week. So.
That leads me to a really quick thought. Do I really want to see the Lions and the Ravens in the Super Bowl? Because his prediction with the Ravens would be in the Super Bowl. Do I want to see the Lions and the Ravens?
Not if it's like the first game.
You're right. Beat the brakes off the Lions.
Past two Super Bowls. I'll include the Chiefs and the Eagles for now. The Chiefs and Eagles are kind of an outlier, but prior to that, a lot of the Super Bowl matchups was like,
yeah.
I still think it can be the Eagles Ravens. Like I still think that could be the outcome there.
Okay, my question is still the same. Do we want that?
I think it'd be a fun game.
Think so?
Yeah.
Because of the quarterbacks, I think you would have a fun game for sure.
It'd be a fun game.
Okay.
Both have good defenses. Both
Lamar has to take the weight.
You would tell him I need 2 to 3 miles on the field.
Who's back up? Tyler Huntley. Still a fun game?
No, but you can name every team in the league and say if the back.
I know, but Lamar does it a lot more than most quarterbacks. And against the Eagles, like.
So to be fair, though, he would have to have like full on broke something to leave the Super Bowl. Like that. Yeah. That's the dude Lamar is. Like they'd have to be sewing his arm back on the sideline for him to miss the rest of the game. Like he would be like, put some tape on it. We're doing this.
Yeah, I'll throw left-handed, and we'll be fine.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think that could be a really exciting game. Because both defenses are good, both quarterbacks are dynamic. They have enough weapons to make it interesting. They're both athletic enough that they can run around, and they both do enough dumb stuff that it'll make the game interesting and frustrating to watch.
Yeah. You'll watch one team will go up 17, and you'll think, they'll get the other team back in it.
I'm sure by the end of this show, you guys can come up with 2 teams that's going to be more fun and more entertaining to watch than that. But I'll give you time to think about it. No, nothing for me to kind of prompt you. If you just think about it throughout the course of the show, just ponder that. I'm sure you can find at least 2 more teams that are more interesting to watch in the Super Bowl. But let's move on. All right, so I'll go ahead and start with the Bengals and the Ravens. That was Thursday Night Football. What a weird game. It was weird. It was weird to me because I kind of thought it would be like a shootout because that's kind of what everybody expected anyways.
Yeah, I did.
Lamar threw 2 touchdown passes in the second quarter. One was kind of a weird bounce off of Jermaine Pratt's helmet and went to Aguilar's hand. Aguilar, former Patriot and former Eagle, and ran it in for a touchdown. Really weird, but 2 notable things. Mark Andrews, tight end for the Ravens, and Joey B, quarterback for the Bengals, are both out for the season. That changes a lot. I know how much Lamar relies on Mark Andrews, and I don't know if you remember it from last year, but the games that Mark Andrews was out, because he was out for a certain amount of games last year, I think it was, but I forgot the reason why. I think it was lower leg as well. Jackson had to do some things differently. And in that situation, he didn't have that safety valve, so he ran a whole lot more when that happened. With Burrow being out, we're looking at essentially a rookie or second-year guy. I forgot.
Yeah, Browning.
Yeah.
Jake Brown. I don't recall how long he's been playing, but he only played in 1 NFL game, so he's as rookie as you can get, and he struggled.
Yeah. Sometimes he was just throwing the ball up, and it was like, I'm a hope for the best. Wherever this lands, it lands.
Yeah, I mean, he waited to the last minute, 8 seconds to chuck it to Jamar Chase. It's like, wow, okay, and chuck it meaning 2-yard passes, so it's not really a big chuck like I'm implying, but so it was just a lot going on in this game. I don't know if I know Cincinnati won the division the past couple of years, but now we're looking at and they're looking at late season injuries then too with both of these guys. So Jackson's been able to stay healthy, which is not the norm, but it's good to see that. So we've been talking about him just now, about him potentially being in the playoffs and even going even beyond that. So him being healthy is a big part of that. But did you guys get a chance to catch that game? Was it anything of note that you saw that you found particularly peculiar or anything?
I mean, it was a weird game even before Burrow gets hurt. Like it was, but it looked like it was headed towards the shootout kind of game, and then he gets hurt, and it changed the dynamic of the game all around.
Yeah.
So it's no surprise that the Ravens win, right? You lose Burrow, and that's kind of a wrap.
Yeah. The energy was just gone, from the moment he and it's actually like he threw a touchdown for his last play, but then it was just, okay, we're done here. And it's like the Ravens sensed it, like, okay, we're not going to have to do as much to win this game as you might think too. So it's just like everybody dialed it back, and you went from, man, this is the best Thursday night matchup to, I wonder what else is on, for the whole second half. It never felt like Browning was going to get him back in the game.
Yeah, my hand was on the remote, no question. My hand was on the remote firmly.
Yeah,
had my finger on the up button, no question. But what I do love about this that was encouraging on the Baltimore side was that Edwards had a couple of touchdown runs.
Yeah,
we haven't been saying that many weeks that the running game has been visible for us to see with the naked eye. We haven't been able to see that. It's either been Lamar throwing for a touchdown or running for one. We've hardly ever seen the running game. So hopefully Gus Bus is where he needs to be mentally and physically. That'll help Lamar out a lot, and I think that'll help propel the Ravens to definitely get into the playoffs even deeper than that. So, what's our next game for today that you guys got?
I'll go with Miami and Vegas. Shout out to Raj if he's on the way to work or listening or anything. I picked this because it was interesting because the Raiders come into this with a 5-5 record, and Dolphins lose to teams above 500, and they beat teams below 500. And I think it was pointed out by Willie, our boy from Shakeback Group, that he was like, well, I like my chances because we're coming in at 500. It'll be interesting. And this was like a perfectly pedestrian game by the Dolphins against a 500 team. I mean, Tua does throw for 325, but he loses a fumble. He has interception. They have 3 turnovers total, no touchdowns for the whole second half. And it's like playing just – and I know, the Raiders' defense has been playing well, but you're playing against a team that's fired their coach, benched their quarterback. Like, this should just be – and you're playing at home. I just need more from this team if I think they're going to get to the – make some noise in the playoffs. But that's what I look at the score, and it just looks like a yawner. You look at the stats, and it looks like a yawner. So A-Chain comes back for a minute, and they took him back out for precautionary reasons. So running game doesn't get going as much as you want, but I mean, it's just when I look at the Dolphins, if this is how you're going to play against the teams, like it's just going to be a short playoff run for you.
I mean, it's an easy division to be on top of. I mean, we can even Raj has to admit that if he was listening today. But this is a lot of gambling right here. Put it like that.
Yeah.
They might as well be in Vegas because there's a lot of gambling going on right now, and it's like they're gonna play the right wrong. I don't know who's on the schedule. In fact, I'm actually curious about that now. I'm gonna look it up. Who's on the schedule for them coming up next? So they got the Jets, Commanders, the Titans, the Jets, Cowboys, and the Ravens. So
there's a mix of there. Certain games you definitely think they should win, and some games you're like, will they be competitive? So I don't know.
Those last two games will be tough.
Yeah.
Oh, no question. I don't think they're going to win those.
No.
As far as the other ones, Jets, Commanders, Titans, and the Jets. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It seems like they could cruise through those.
Yeah.
I mean, Commanders might be interesting.
Yeah. I think they'll be feisty, but Rivera could be fired by then.
Probably.
And then they have a revved up new head coach, and maybe they may play totally differently.
No, exactly.
I'm not giving that win automatically, and I'm not sure about the Titans either. These guys sometimes they play at their height, and look, especially with since Levis has been in, and then they have a game like what he had last week, which is not so great.
Yeah,
I don't know who's going to be there when they play them. So I'm not giving the easy W to the Jets. They're probably going to sweep both of those games.
Yeah,
true.
Jets are just. I mean, when you bench your quarterback. They've benched him, and I don't even know what they're going to do anymore. Like they're literally out there saying, "I don't know what we're going to do next."
Rodgers, that's what they're going to do. He'll come back and win it all for him.
I'm almost convinced that if you put him out there in a wheelchair or on crutches, he'd be better than what they've got going on right now.
Come on.
I mean, you're not wrong.
You ever play football in a wheelchair before? How'd they go?
I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. They're getting 0 right now from the quarterback position. So I don't know.
Who's in there now?
It was Wilson, but now I think they benched him in the last game, and the coach came out and said, "I don't know who's starting next week." So
they haven't actually officially announced who's going to be the guy next week. But
I didn't recognize the name of the guy who came in.
I like Mike White. Is he still there?
No,
Mike White's with the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, he left in the preseason.
See, that's my reaction.
Okay, well, they're toast.
Oh yeah, they got nothing there.
Okay, all right. Next game.
All right, so I guess we'll go with the Bears and the Lions. And I don't know if this says more about the Bears or more about the Lions. So this is, the Bears came out. They actually put up points. The Lions are showing that they are every bit the playoff caliber team they can be, though, because they managed to win in a game. They turned the ball over 4 times. Goff throws 3 interceptions. Like you're looking at this on a stat sheet, and you're like, they had to lose this game, right? You don't turn the ball over 4 times and win. That's not generally how that works. And they still found a way to come back from behind, put up 17 points in the fourth quarter to get the dub. And then from the other end of it, you look at it and you're like, man, the Bears are just bad. Like, how do you get 4 turnovers and still lose?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, but again, kudos to the Lions. They're doing everything they have to do. Even when they're having an off day, they're finding ways to come back, put up numbers, get in the end zone, and pull out the dubs at the end.
Can't argue with that. I think the Lions were I think all of our picks to be a playoff team. Is that right? Did we all?
Yeah.
Unanimous on that?
I think we all have.
Not just so much about them, but about their division too as well. I didn't see anyone else doing it, so I thought at the very least they're winning the division. They've been playing better than I expected, but I feel like everybody had them win the division. Oh, by the way, to your other point, Tim Boyle in his 5th season out of Eastern Kentucky.
Oh, that's right.
Tim Boyle.
That's right.
Yeah.
Why do I know his name?
He's been around.
You played in Green Bay?
That I don't remember.
Yeah.
I know his name, but probably a reason that's not so auspicious. I think I know his name.
Well, that's who's fighting for the Jets starting job next week.
Terrific. Those guys are
Now it's gonna be
all right, I want to ask you a question about this game. About this team, about the Bears. It looks as though Foreman's going out with an injury with his ankle, and they kind of been skating depth wise to start with, which is surprising since they spent like $89 million last year. Okay, whatever. But what do you do with Fields? Recoup him from a dislocated thumb. I've been talking to people on Twitter about this, and I don't have a better answer even today. After all these weeks I've been having this discussion, I can't tell how the Bears feel about him. It's so weird, man. How can you be married to somebody and not know that your wife loves you? That's kind of weird. You want to know, are you in with this? Or me and you here together? Are we doing this or we're not?
Yeah.
I can't tell from anything that I'm seeing. Nothing to do with him on the field, nothing off the field discussion wise. I can't tell. Do they like him? Do they love him? Is he okay? Are they going to go ahead and get a quarterback with the first pick? What can you guys see anything? Is Fields the guy or he's not? I can't tell. Kind of frustrating.
They're going to keep him, but they feel a solid meh about him.
Yeah.
But
they're a solid meh. What does that even mean?
It means they're not in love with him, but they're like, he's our guy, I guess, because he's here. I mean, that's the attitude they seem to have towards him, but they're not going to move off him either. So they don't love him, but they're not going to move on. So it's just it's going to be the Bears, right? They're just going to be what the Bears generally are, which is not great.
Are they taking an understudy with the first pick?
No, they're probably going to go get Harrison Jr. or something.
Because they're going to have two top
or
picks.
A guy that don't like it.
So right now they're in an arranged marriage with Fields. It's not a marriage; it's an arranged marriage. So they're still trying to figure out if they're going to do this or not. So
and how many years of the contract left for him? How many more left?
Are we coming up on his rookie extension?
I didn't think. I thought we were on 4. We're now on the 4th year. I'm making y'all work this morning. Sorry.
Yeah, that I don't remember exactly what his contract is.
Let's see if we can find out, man, because that makes a difference too, doesn't it? I mean, you can go get Harrison for a guy you don't want to keep.
Well,
he was in the 2021 draft, so. So he's only been there. Yeah, he's not even close to that yet.
Yeah, so he's still got a couple of years then.
Yeah.
So I mean, no, I think they get him a weapon. The thing that's going to be funny about this is what the Bears really need, because they do have some decent pieces on this team, and Fields isn't horrible. But
it's the worst commercial of all time.
You're not bad.
He's not horrible.
But that's all I can say, because we don't really know, because the offensive line.
You're right, though. You're right.
We have no idea what he is or what he can be, because the offensive line gets killed. And what the Bears are going to do is what the Bears always do, is they're going to go get a weapon or something and not address the offensive line. And we're never going to know while he's in whether or not he was any good.
Yeah. They address it. They just don't address it well.
Yeah.
They get linemen. I've seen them get linemen, but it's like
they get 7th round linemen, and then they wonder if they're not great.
Yeah.
He's not developing as fast as we hope.
They're like, hey, you're on a couch. You're kind of a big dude. You want to block? Like,
and I think it was about a month ago. We were talking about how they spent that money. Who they spent it on?
Nobody.
I listened to them like none of you guys knew who I was talking about.
They could have been working the concession stand. I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
A hot dog guy. Go ahead and play right check.
Hey, right?
Wow. He couldn't play any worse than what's going on out there. So hey, give him a shot.
Oh my God! All right, let's keep it going. I tell you what, that draft, that first pick, the tension is going to be. You can cut it with a knife. All right.
Oh, and they'll have Carolina's pick too, though, right? So it's going to be real interesting what decisions they make.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What they do is going to determine what we do, no matter where we end up in all of this stuff. But that's another story. All right, we're talking Giants to Commanders. I did that because I happened to be seeing so much of the game. I said I'll go ahead and talk about it. It wasn't my plan, but the Commanders was favored by more than a touchdown, and look like they had decided to have a fumble party with the whole team. Everybody took their turns fumbling. Gave him a hot potato, I guess you could say.
Yep.
Howell was supposed to be lauded by players and coaches around the league as the future of the franchise. I don't know about you, but I haven't heard that one time. But apparently, this is the thing. When they said Sam Howell the future, don't need to draft a quarterback, guys. You got your next Commanders season call for the next 10, 15 years. He's your guy. And he wet the bed to say the least.
We'll see what the next coach thinks about it.
Yeah, he might not get a say on all this stuff when it's all said and done. New York scored their first quarter touchdown in all season. Apparently, they never trail, which is like a big deal.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, they do most of their best work against the Commanders. I don't really know why that is, but it's just a weird situation going on. DeVito, this guy, he gets killed on Twitter because his mom makes his bed, but he came in, man. 25-year-old third stringer, living in Jersey with his mom. She still makes his pasta for him at night and all that kind of stuff. Do 18 or 26 passes, 246 yards,
right.
passes. I'm gonna tell you right now, if I put those numbers on anybody else, none of you guys will blink your eye and say nothing. Think about that: 18 and 26, 246 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's regular for a quality quarterback. He did that, so that's pretty good. I like what more important is how he did it. That's the part I like. He threw to Saquon twice for touchdowns. That wasn't happening weeks ago. Saquon was he was bumping in the post, trying to get through holes in the O line. He had to run and catch some touchdown passes, and the defense they were confused. Like, what are you doing all the way down here? It was beautiful in that regard. Even Darius Slayton got a little bit of play, which is like a name you haven't heard in like I don't know how many weeks. He's been the invisible man. So It was good though. What wasn't good with that, DeVito got sacked 9 times. I'm like, wow, we still doing that? We still letting that guy get sacked 9 times?
It's not like the line got better.
Huh?
It's not like the line got better randomly over the last 2
weeks. Okay. Wait a minute now. Like I said, like 2 weeks ago, I said there was a couple of moves that they made. I thought it was better. You want exponential change. You want to see okay.
I just want to see him not picking
improvement
out of the grass all day.
When Andrew Thomas is there, it's an improvement because it's epic bad when he's not there. Forget Ryan and the mother bums over there. I'm talking about Andrew Thomas. When he's there, it's a lot better. Give a little credit, please. But they rushed for 0 yards to the team in the first half too, which is like, what? Ooh. Is there an award for that? Do you get like a biscuit or a trophy?
I didn't see that.
0 yards? Like none?
Wow.
Incredible. Howard came into the game. He's only been in the league 2 years. He came in with the most passing yards in the entire league, which was like a fun fact. I'm like, really? Did you know that? He had the most passing yards in the entire league? Anybody know that? The best kept secret. But the Giants got a win. They were happy, I guess, in the locker room, I guess, and celebrating. I don't know what you're celebrating, but okay, you got 3 wins under your belt. I guess now I'm trying to find out who we are, because I don't like the whole tanking idea. I mean, I've said that here and there on Twitter, but most of the Giants experts, they don't talk to each other. They want to talk to them. Right. So I'm talking to myself essentially on Twitter, and nobody listens to me. But I don't want to see the tanking situation. I mean, I want us to get a high draft pick because we need the help, but I don't want us to tank. I want us to win. I saw 4 games this season, maybe 5, that we had dead to rights, and we weren't even playing well. And we had them dead to rights. We should be 8 and something right now, and we just lost it. It's like, so I don't want to lose out. I want us to win out, but that probably won't happen. But I want us to win. If we can get all, I'll be happy with it. We can drop down and get. I'm okay with that. We figure out wide receivers somewhere else in the draft. I'm okay with that. You don't have to be Harrison. I'm okay with that. There's a lot of other options out there. We do a whole bunch of different stuff. So if you got some thoughts, go ahead and throw it in. If not, next game.
It's interesting to not tank though when you do need the help, but it's kind of like you almost want to see your team play really good for 3 quarters, kind of like the Cardinals were doing all year, and then lose in the last quarter, and everybody has the understanding like, hey, we're still trying to do what's best for the team in the future. So
that's so weird too. That's a weird one.
It is, but it's like I don't know. Bill Simmons used to talk about that with basketball. It's like you either want to be really good or really bad. Like being in the middle, anywhere near the middle is just not good for your long-term future. So
no, because you just stay in the middle. because you can't get better help by being really bad, and you don't have good enough players on the team to be really good. And so when you're, like the way the Cowboys used to be, right? It was 8-8 every year. And it was that way because they were 8-8. Yeah. And, they didn't have a high draft pick. So they weren't adding good pieces overall. And then, but they were still good enough to not be bad and get those draft picks. So, I mean,
I don't know, man.
That was the Jason Garrett hand clapping era.
I mean, there's some exceptions to that rule, though, Bo. I mean,
no,
there is. That's kind of weird. I mean, Lamar Jackson went 31st.
No, for sure.
I think the man's a star. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You can find a gem. The thing is most of the time it's not they step in and they're ready to rock, right? Like if you have a guy that you pick up in the 3rd, 4th round, 5th round, whatever, and they become a star. That first part is the biggest part. They become a star. They don't walk in and are ready to go. Usually there's some time to evolve as a player, to get up to speed. That's usually one of the things with the later round guys is there's a lot of talent there. It's just whether or not you can cultivate that talent to become the NFL level that you need. Whereas a lot of times the first round picks, outside of the busts, right? But usually they're mostly ready to step in and be help immediately. Whereas the later rounds, a lot of times aren't. Now, obviously there's exceptions to that rule, but for the most part, if you look at the way that the rounds go, if you're a 1st round pick, you're probably going to see playing time your rookie season. If you're a 5th round pick, you're probably going to be a 2nd stringer. You might even fall to the practice squad for a little while before you come back in. So, I mean, but again, obviously there's exceptions
to those rules as well. I mean, they got guys in the middle of the 1st round. It's like,
well, that's why I said outside of
more time.
And the other part of it is if you're a middling team, you're trusting on your organization to make good draft picks in those. And a lot of times you're middling team because they're not going to hit on a lot of those. Sometimes they need a couple slam dunk players in there.
Yep.
I'm gonna give them a chance because they have new personnel up at the top, excluding John Mara, who is excluding him. He's still there, still doing stuff, still pushing his weight around. But we got a new leadership at GM and head coach. I'm gonna give them a chance in a draft situation. But wow! All right, Herb, go ahead and jump into your game, man.
All right. So I went with Chargers and Green Bay. Once again, not because I don't get to catch a lot of NFL, so it's not necessarily for the gameplay, but it's for what comes out of it. A 23-20 win. The Chargers are now falling to last in their division with this. And you look at Herbert throws for 260, 2 touchdowns. He's also his team's leading rusher in the game, which means they're never going to win a game like that. 8 rushing for 73 yards. On the flip side of it, Jordan Love goes for 322 and 2 touchdowns. And I'm seeing on Twitter it's Love. Is he the answer? He's the guy. Not if we're going to do this once every 4 or 5 games. They still – I feel like they still don't 100% know what they have with him. And they're coming up towards the end of the season where they might have to make some decisions. Jones went out with an injury, so that's only going to make things a little worse because I don't think –
Again?
Yeah, he went out again. And A.J. Dillon was not good in his relief, so it's kind of, you've got a young quarterback, and you're trying to figure out what you have with him, and your rushing game keeps getting hurt. Then so it just makes the evaluation even tougher.
Unbelievable.
But for the Chargers, I think Staley's getting fired at the end of the year. He's having to answer questions about I think it should have been before. You just have too much talent on that team for them to keep middling the way they are. It's crazy. And to be last in that division.
Did you see a soundbite?
Yes, that's what I was going to say. When the reporter asked him if he was still going to call plays.
He's coming apart.
Yeah, he didn't
he's coming apart at this point in time, isn't it? I mean, the Chargers always had talent, man. You go back to Rivers and Gates, they always had talent. Eckler is an incredible talent. If I had to pick a running back who I want to have, like on the fantasy teams, I'm picking Eckler. The majority, I picked him every year for like almost 15 years.
Yeah,
they always had talent. Mike Williams, when he's not hurt, the man is an incredible talent. Now they got Johnson, who I'm not even. I don't know why I am with him, but they always have talent, man. That's not a news flash. They had talent on defense for a while. I mean, their defense is ranked 11th. They always had talent, but something just didn't come together. especially in clutch situations.
Yeah.
Games you had to win, teams you had to beat. It was like it never happened. Yeah. I don't know changing the coaches is going to solve that. I don't know what the problem is. Do you?
At least then, though, they were making the playoffs and choking. Now it's like we're just going to choke for the whole season. And this team right now would look back at those as glory days and love to at least get back to that where they at least had a shot to go lose to the Patriots. Now it's like they've got nothing. There's no hope halfway through the season. You're fourth in a division that has the Raiders who have fired their coach and the Broncos who had 70 dropped on them this year. And now you're behind both of those teams. Like it just doesn't make sense with the talent they have on both sides of the ball. It's not like they haven't invested and they're in the middle of a rebuild. No. I mean, your quarterback's on a massive extension.
And why does your defense have massive letdowns when your head coach is a defensive coach? This is why I said before the season he's getting fired, and the fact that he hasn't been yet is amazing to me. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like you can't have a bad defense if that is your wheelhouse as a head coach.
Right.
In the words of the immortal Herb Ragsdale, today's a great day for a firing. Why wait for Black Friday or Black Monday? Why wait for that?
I wouldn't. What do you have to lose at this point? What do you have to lose by going ahead and moving on?
Well, especially because you actually have an effective interim head coach in the building in Kellen Moore. Like Kellen Moore can do the job. And I mean, obviously his offense works. They've been putting up points. Like that hasn't been an issue. So
the offense has been more consistent with more injuries than the defense has been. And that doesn't make a whole lot of sense with the defensive coach. So let Kellen Moore come in. He'll call the offense. Let whoever's next up call the defense. And
exactly.
And also,
maybe you find something else out about your team.
Both got caught off again. This is like almost like with Aaron Jones. It's almost like a regular yearly situation. It's like, why do you get caught off every year? Yeah, I don't get it. But before Bo does his show, how you guys feel about Jordan Love? Real quick hits. Is he? I mean, you said every 4 or 5 games. I mean, do you think he had a sufficient amount of time? Both last week said he did, and they should move on from him. You feel the same way, Herb? They should move on for him now?
I don't know about move on yet, just because it is his first, I guess, full year starting. But I mean, if we slip into a high draft pick, I've got to think about that. The quarterback. I don't know where they are out there. There's several guys in there that you might like. I don't know. It might be a chance to keep Jordan Love around for another year, draft one of those guys, and let him sit behind him for a year. But the talent is coming around them, like especially wide receiver wise, very young. You probably want to get somebody in there that's going to be more cohesive with him, but he hasn't done enough to make me. Huh?
They had to pay him for that, right? Isn't he in the last year?
I think they had to probably pick up his rookie extension, right? But
yeah, and that's kind of the way I look at it. It's like I don't think they're just moving on where they just cut him or something. I think they'll probably take that fifth year option.
What I thought. Okay.
But
he signed a 1 year in May.
Yeah, so like it's one of those where I think you do pick up a quarterback. It's a deep quarterback draft. You don't necessarily have to get one that's in the top 5 or anything like that. Like you could get a later first round, early second round quarterback and be good. And to Herb's point, let him sit behind him. And, and then next year you can kind of figure out what it is you want to do, because they do have a lot of younger pieces. And if Love can't get it together, then, you have your next guy.
So you're gonna have him sign another 1 year deal? That's what you're saying, Bo?
And if he doesn't want to, try that free agency market. I see what that market is.
Yeah.
And then if you do,
Love's market would be,
you have your
great. Yeah.
That's a scenario I can't see them. This is an extension right here, $22.5 million contract for 1 year. You haven't signed another one like that? I don't see it. All right. All right, Bo, what you got?
So sadly, I'm going to talk about Hawks here.
Oh, where's the violins for this stuff here?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
It's the little one. So this is where this game was crazy to me, is there was 222 yards of total penalties combined between these two teams. Like there was so much laundry on the field all night. It was a tough game to watch. And of course, what ends up biting the Hawks is they can't convert a third down. Like I don't know what it is about this team, but as soon as it's third down, it's a wrap. Like they're exiting the field. But I mean, they did drive down and, give themselves a chance to win. Myers ends up missing a 55-yarder, which, I mean, that's not a cake field goal, right? 55 yards, no joke. That's a long ways. So, I mean, like Geno was able to overcome some things, overcome an injury, drive down to give them a shot to win. They missed the field goal. It is what it is. The one thing that probably does get a little bit less play now is all the people that were like, bench Geno, let's get Locke out there, because Locke came out and looked terrible. So that'll probably limit some.
How to
of that.
give him a chance, man.
Yeah.
How to give him a
What do you
chance.
say? They always love the backup quarterback.
Exactly.
Every team.
Exactly.
Not this time.
But, I mean, overall, it was that divisional game. The Rams always give them trouble. So,
Right.
I mean, the downside to it is it definitely has a huge impact on the playoffs for the Seahawks, because they come into this next 4-game stretch where they potentially may go 0-4 in it. And, 9-6 versus 9-8 versus 10-7 is a very different animal, right?
Mm-hmm.
10-7, you're a wild card team. 9-8, you might just be on the outside looking in. So This is one that if they do end up missing, this is the game they'll look back on and be like, that's that game. That's that game.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I want to ask a question real quick, because it's going to take it may take us into next week, depending on how you answer it. But I don't want to break down the Bills game. I just want to just talk to you about it real quick.
Okay.
I don't know if you heard about former Rams Taylor Sapp. Went out, carted off in the ambulance during the game. Somebody put their helmet in his chest or on his neck, something like that.
Right.
Carted him off, and you can see Dewan Hamlin. Is that his first name?
DeMar.
Yeah.
DeMar Hamlin. You can see him on the side of on the sidelines. His face was bone chilling, man.
Yeah.
It's almost like he saw himself like a ghost. I'm like, wow, this is super scary on football.
Yeah.
Football. And it's like, it makes me think about the whole player safety conversation. I want to see if you guys think it's worth talking about next week in a little bit more detail. Kareem Jackson's a name that I heard a little bit about in the past couple of days. If you've seen a play.
Yeah.
Wow. Dude, you still doing stupid stuff like that?
Yeah. Which is as much danger to you as it is to the other player. That's what I don't understand. So
you guys let me know if you think this is a worthwhile topic, because there's just so many little things going on. And to tell you the truth, it's not even, it transcends the NFL. It's happening in college. I watched more college games the past 2 weeks than I have the entire season. And I saw it in every game.
Man, that one targeting shot was hilarious. That was the most. I don't know if you saw it. I forget what team it was offhand, but it was the most textbook image of a targeting hit. Like he literally just launched his head.
Yeah, and I know which game you're talking about because it popped up on the feed too.
I know. I watched the game. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I can't remember what team it was offhand, but because of the
camera, it happened in Colorado 2 weeks ago too.
Yeah,
that's not the way you're talking about.
Because of that camera angle, like it was the most textbook version of what not to do.
Yeah. Real quick funny story, because I was at the Alabama Chattanooga game this week, a game you wouldn't know, nobody would ever care about. It was crush. But we had one in theirs, and so we're watching it, of course, live, and they call targeting, and we're like, oh no, and we all see the replay on the board, and it's like, yes, lowered head, helmet to helmet, like every bit of part of it. I was like, oh. Okay. Best part about it, he announced the review for targeting. He was thrown out. Everyone booed. Oh, boo! And I was like, but they're right. I mean, it was about as bad as it gets. But that's how your home fans go with you. They don't care.
Oh my goodness! So if you guys think it's worth talking about player safety, let me know, because
I'm down.
It's happening so much. I'm like, wow, we probably can have a half hour of examples. How do you fix that? It's something to think about. All right, so the Eagles and Chiefs tonight.
Yep.
Who you guys got?
Should be a good one. I'm excited for that game.
Oh, I so hope so.
We said that about Thursday Night Football, so I'm praying, please.
I fell for that trick many times this year. I'm not falling for it again. So yeah, no.
Here's the thing about that. I went into Thursday night. I'm like, man, finally, we got a good game for Thursday night. And the problem is it was Thursday night.
Yes.
And so it was doomed before it got started. Like,
why is that though? Why is that?
I heard somebody was talking about that, and they were talking about it was one of the players, and they were on a podcast, and they were talking about the natural rhythm that their body gets into. And they're like, Monday was like rest, and Tuesday was this, and Wednesday was this. He said sometimes we don't put on pads until Thursday or Friday to get our bodies acclimated for the next week. He said you kind of get on a regular schedule. He said all of a sudden for a Thursday game, it's like Monday's not rest and recover. It's this, and it's game plan on Tuesday and Wednesday, and like all of a sudden you're playing Thursday. He said so it just kind of speeds up your natural rhythm for every week.
Well, and they don't have a normal practice either.
Well, like for you, Mr. You're very organized about your show, and we can expect certain texts all during the week, right? But if we ended this show today and all of a sudden we were coming back on Thursday, your whole process gets sped up. And now, like your Thursday show, you'd be on the air telling us, felt a little rushed coming into this. It's not my normal production because it would be a shortened schedule. It's the same thing for the human body in these guys. So I think that's why you get a lot more.
What's going to happen with Thursday's game then for Thanksgiving? And Black Friday, but this is like stuff they don't normally do. This is going to be.
Yeah. I think your body just gets way out of rhythm, you know?
There'll be some ugly football. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good. That's not encouraging. Football would be good during Thanksgiving.
We just tell it like it is.
All right, well.
So when's the last time you saw amazing football on a Thanksgiving? Because when you think about it, this is getting close.
It's all perception, man.
Cowboys. It's almost
all perception.
Yeah,
it's amazing to me because I'm watching football on Thanksgiving. It doesn't mean it's a good game. I'm imagining it being good because it's Thanksgiving. It's football.
Right. No, and that part absolutely. But if you think back, Thanksgiving primarily has had a Lions team that's been horrendous, right? Like that's not good football. That hasn't been good football in 50 years. So, that's not exactly encouraging. The Cowboys have been very average and below average on Thanksgiving through December, right? So those are two games that already aren't great.
Yeah.
Right. And then you have the rotating cast of whatever the third game is, right? Which, have there been some bangers of a game? Of course. But I mean, for the most part, it's still kind of a Thursday game. Now you are enjoying the day, lots of food, and you get to watch 3 games of football. And so like overall it's a great experience. But if you actually look at the games, haven't exactly been like top flight games.
And on the flip side of that, the Egg Bowl, the college football game, whether it's good or bad, is always fun. I think because of the atmosphere of the two teams playing. So that's a little, and then maybe college kids are recovering, they've got a little extra day. So that will probably be a more fun game than the NFL games that you end up watching.
Yeah, having one on Black Friday is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
That's
I don't know what's going on.
You know what? I'll have to miss out on my shopping to watch football. Oh no. Sorry.
Oh darn.
Oh no.
It's all right. You were going to do it on Amazon anyway.
Tackle me for an 80-inch. I could be getting tackled for 80-inch TV instead of watching football. Oh no.
What are you talking about? It'd be Black Friday deals on Prime. That's what that's the station that it's going to be anyway, right? Because it's actually Thursday
nonstop
night
commercials.
Yeah.
My head going to the TV at the mall is not a good thing. Crazy out here, man. Well, guys, it's been fun. Herb, thank you so much, brother. You got to get somewhere. So
appreciate y'all.
All right. Well, wherever you are today and however you listen to They Call Me Mr. You, the podcast, thanks again for making us a part of your morning, your day, and your week. Guess what? We're your weekly mirror check before you change the world. Enjoy your Thanksgiving weekend, holiday. Have fun. Be safe. Play football. Eat turkey. Take a nap.